Welcome to the Luxury Code, where we decode the mindset, the marketing, and the business approach of successful luxury brokers.
I'm going to go rapid fire with you. What's most important to luxury sellers?
Discretion, trustworthiness, knowledge, and I'd say authenticity.
What would you say? Anything different?
I'd say all of those things are on my list and just adding client experience.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, very, very high level of client experience. And
how do you guys define that? I understand the two words, but like I think everyone's going to interpret it differently.
well, one of the things I'm not afraid to ask in a situation in a listing appointment is, how do you like to communicate? I know you're super busy.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get 1,000 emails a day.
Yeah.
What's your preferred method of communication? Do you like text? Do you like mom to send you a voice text? Do you want me to email you? And some will say, I'm highly communicative. I want to be kept abreast of everything. Others will say, call me when it's sold. Right.
Yeah.
So just understanding how to communicate the way they want to communicate.
Their modality.
Yeah.
What about the buy side?
In terms of experience?
Yeah.
I would say with both buy and sell, we're constantly looking at ways in each deal, because every deal is different. Every group of people is different. How can we provide service that maybe is not expected of us or is not in the kind of realm of what's norm? We have so many stories.
I'll give the most recent example of the client that Steven and I are working with together. They wanted to look at a bunch of different properties. I knew that they've been speaking to other agents that were just peppering them with information, and I could tell they were kind of getting bogged down. And look, if one of the reasons why Zillow has become so highly successful, in my opinion, it's two reasons. One, they have a great user interface. Right, super client friendly. Anybody can navigate it easily.
Right.
And the second is they came up with probably the greatest algorithm of all time, which is the Zestimate. Because everybody in the world wants to know what their house is worth in real time, and they check it 18 times a day.
Even though it's not correct.
Even though it's not correct.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
That small piece.
Yeah, for sure.
No details. That's why we called it a Zestimate.
Yes,
We could have called it a guesstimate. It would have been totally fine.
Yeah.
So what we did with this client, knowing that like the way it was being presented to them probably wasn't working, was we had our marketing team create a custom website for them that just had a really very kind of simple like panels of each property. You can click on, it opens up, takes you to some photos, takes you a link to a video. It's not rocket science, but it was presented in a way that I know for them being on the go was really palatable.
You made it easy for
I
them.
have to add
them.
But
two
the
things.
MLS does that. And it's
Well, so I
so
was gonna
much
say,
fun to look at the MLS.
We have to
from
add
a-
two
from a
things to this.
consumer.
Right.
Almost all of those were off markets that he sourced through
Got
his
it.
relationships,
Got it.
because this type of client knows anything that's on the market, and
Yeah.
you have to utilize the relationships that we have with other agents and through our network. And then the other is also knowing your audience. In this particular case, and with these high-end clients specifically, we're not dealing with the client usually. We're dealing with the assistant.
Yeah.
And anything we can do to make that assistant's life easier
Bingo.
is what causes that assistant to make the decision to further the relationship with us. It's
Correct.
frankly how they said, can you help us in New York? We've been so blown away by your service, hence bringing in Steven into the mix. So,
And I will tell you, this is I may have told you this. This assistant has mentioned that website more times, just was blown away by, I mean, it looked beautiful. I don't say it was simple to create. It was just organized and wonderful, and really has referenced it 3 times.
Isn't that interesting? So like when people hear experience, they're like, are you guys dropping off like champagne and caviar? No, we're just making their life and decision-making process easier, faster, more efficient. Like just that.
We do that too. just so we're clear. We spend some money on gifts for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
Adam has talked about, as like a closing gift, like a $10,000 piece of art. Like, I mean, he'll,
Right. So let's go a different direction. That was fun. Let's talk about biggest mistakes you see agents making coming into the luxury market. We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but I want to go a little deper because the flip side is I'm going to challenge all 3 of you. We'll just go there now. I'm moving all 3 of you tomorrow to a different market. You're going to
make me 20 years younger.
Well, yeah, would you like that too?
we can do that too, yeah.
Poof.
Yeah.
I'm the age fairy.
Yeah,
Yes. Right. You're moving to Jackson Hole. You're moving to Miami, and you get Seattle, Bellevue, Washington. You get the high end of no. I'll give you.
I feel like I lost a little bit.
I'll give you Whistler.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Whistler's
So
nice.
Yeah.
Whistler's nice, right? But that's a long trip, by the way, to see your wife and kids. Or
They're not coming with me?
no, she's going to Miami.
I'm going to
Sorry.
Miami. I'm on the beach.
She's like, wait a minute, time out.
Lauren's like,
You're like, I'll be in Miami, baby. Nikki Beach, here we come.
Yeah.
So, but the point is, being, all kidding aside, is if you were starting over tomorrow and you had 18 months to make your mark, what would you do?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So first, I would just align myself with someone local, right? Partner with someone, find a team you can join. Again, like leverage their experience, stand on the shoulders of giants, like I said before. Immerse yourself in that market. Just study.
How?
We are looking at potentially going to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So expanding our team to Miami. So I went to Miami. I flew out there earlier this year and got in the car with someone local and drove every single street. And then we got a boat and we went out on the harbor and went and looked at every single one of the islands and John,
you didn't do the helicopter? You saved that
I
only
didn't
for
do
LA?
the helicopter.
Like,
no,
what's going on
I didn't do the
here?
helicopter there. But no, really just
Good idea, though.
Mm-hmm.
just really immersing yourself in that market.
Right.
Then I would reach out to all of my clients in LA who know me, like me, and trust me and say, who do you know in I'm guessing Whistler now. Who do you know in Whistler? I forgot where I was moving to. Who do you know in Whistler?
Yeah.
Can you make a connection? And then I've always said, like, where I think I shine the brightest is over food and wine, right? So a lot of dinners, a lot of just kind of shaking hands, just trying to make an impression on people. And that's how I would start.
Okay. So you'd join a team.
Yes, align myself with someone somehow. Sure, join a team.
Well, I mean, align, join, team, whatever. But
Sure.
you're gonna ride on somebody else's shoulders.
Yep.
You're gonna study the market all day, every day until you know it inside and out.
Yep.
And then you're gonna reach out to people that you already know you, like you, and trust you, and say, who do you know in this area that I should get to know?
Yes.
That's what I did when I moved to Dallas, by the way. So
Yeah.
that was like I'm music to my ears.
Yep.
All right, your husband's in Whistler. You're in Miami. Go.
He took most of mine. I would say all three
why I went
of
first.
those. I know. You always do that. I'll go
Is he
first.
a little competitive?
Just what's happening.
Yeah, I know.
Tom, we should leave.
Well, the real reason that we're here today, ladies and gentlemen, this is an intervention.
I'm sorry, our time
Lauren
is up, but
goes first
we'll
every
review
time from now
Yeah.
on. What would you do differently?
One thing I would do differently, this sounds like a very simple answer, but is leverage video. Like that's
Thank
how
you.
you get eyeballs on you and how you now present yourself to that world and that space as being someone that's there, that's in the new restaurant, that's at the gallery opening, that's, in the public eye.
Yeah. Reels, hashtag strategy, YouTube,
All of the
driving
things.
tours.
And
Driving tours are
and the
like
things-
the no-brainer.
The things he mentioned, none of those cost money.
Right.
And video doesn't have to cost that much money.
No.
We're not talking about like, going into a market and we need $200,000 to do it. Like this is kind of guerrilla marketing.
Do you have an iPhone?
Exactly.
Do you know how to upload a video?
Exactly.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And what would you do differently?
So I'd echo all those. I love what Lauren said about video. Didn't even think of
Right,
that.
right.
But I would just go deeper with, and this is what we do I always say I'm in the room, thank God. So I'm around the people. It's my job to now go further. So putting myself, joining, getting involved in certain local charities, which aren't as easy. It's easier when you're on the board of a charity, sitting with the type of people that you want to work with. But
it's proximity, right?
It's proximity.
Be in
It's all
proximity to the type of
proximity.
people you want to work with.
And it's reaching out to my clients and friends that I know people there, and then just networking.
Right.
And like John says, wine and food, authenticity and intimacy is where I shine. So if I can be with a small group or one-on-one, that's where I feel.
Boy, does he ever.
What?
If you ever
I
had a
know.
meal with this guy, he's like
I
Diane
have.
Sawyer. I mean, he wants to know
He know Adam's life
everything.
story
He
now.
wants to dig in
Wait,
there.
they're
He
like,
wants to
we didn't know that about Adam.
Yeah.
So much more about
Like,
that.
just watch.
By
watch.
the end of dinner, he's
Right.
flying me with wine. And I'm like,
right. I mean, the first time we had lunch at Barney's, right?
Barney
and
Greengrass.
and Parps was
Yeah.
there, and Pipes was there,
Yes.
and like so we
not Barney
kind of knew
Greengrass. Barney's at Fred's.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
Fred's at Barney's.
Fred's at Barney's,
sorry.
right?
Yeah.
Detail, attention
Yes,
to detail.
details, yeah.
But literally, like I'm there trying to understand everything about him. Right. And of course, he's doing the same thing to me and to Bill Pipes. And you locked in on Bill Pipes and you were like, well, tell me more of that. Well, I'm really into
He's
it.
the best.
And all of a sudden,
He's the best
Pipes
at it.
is just like, and then when I was 5, right?
And Steven is now your best
Yeah,
friend.
Right.
But he does it with
It's
such
so
tremendous
authentic.
authenticity.
'Cause he
Really,
cares.
really wants to know. He
It's
really
not,
cares.
this is not a sales tactic.
Genuinely.
That's,
No.
that's,
No,
that's
I'm
what
really
about
interested.
authenticity,
I'm
right?
interested in people.
No,
Right.
he really is,
Right.
and it shows.
Right.
Thanks.
So we talked about sort of the, starting over. So just to recap, you would align yourself, you would study the market nonstop all day, every day, understanding the ins and outs, and probably the power brokers who's got the pocket listings and everything else. Be authentically yourself, do the things that you do, which is like finding out from your clients, who do you know in this marketplace that I can get to know, and yada, yada, yada. Then video, and more video. You mentioned though first, like the social stuff and the galleries and the restaurants, and I went drive tour.
Yeah.
Like,
Why can't we do all of it?
well, I mean, I'm asking you.
Yeah, drive tour for sure. I was going to say on the more real estate side, I think like going back to basics, what you always tell us, market updates,
Yeah.
going out and driving the neighborhoods, educating people about those neighborhoods. But then you also want people to look at you as an equal and as a peer, which means
Right.
you need to be in the culture of that place. So
Right.
I think you have to
Right.
marry those two, and they're both equally important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always steal a line from Tony Robbins, which is proximity is power.
Yeah.
Right. I get calls from agents all around the country that ask like, so how do I break into the high end space? And it's
Yeah.
like, well, you first need to be within proximity of those people.
Mhm.
What churches do they go to? What country clubs do they belong to? Where do they eat at? Like,
Right.
where are you in their sphere?
Mhm.
Because if you're not, then you're just on the outside, sort of trying to like knock down the
Looking
gates.
through
Yeah.
the window.
Right. Right.
And I'm going to go with back to that piece with authenticity. We're not for everyone, or I'm not for everyone, and
Yeah.
everyone's not for me. But if you're not every wealthy person or luxury buyer is the same, and
no.
just like other brokers in New York, but it's got to, when I refer, I think who is the right agent for this person.
Yes.
And I think that's so important. So you have to be yourself.
Right. Right.
What are you building? This is the essence of my Blueprint event. So to make your reservation, go to tomferry.com/blueprint. I look forward to seeing you at the event.
So, two things I want to kind of finish with, two sort of big questions. I'm gonna hit you guys with a bunch of rapid fire stuff. So, I think one of the big mistakes people walk into this marketplace. Okay, so I studied the market, right, and I figured out I got some friends here, but they don't understand how to communicate. They don't understand how to negotiate. What do you think are the most important skills? And they could be life skills, it could be sales skills, it could be listening skills, but just what do you think are the most important skills? Like if you could say your children are now the age of my kids and you want them to be your sales agents, you have got to understand these 3 or 4 things. Same question for all of you.
In specific to Lux?
Yes.
She's supposed to go first.
Oh, fuck.
I'll go first.
Are we even going to have beep on this show? I don't think there's no beep. John, this is John. Beep.
I asked you the first podcast I did, can I
Yes.
swear on this? And you
Yes.
said you can, but is
Yes.
that...
I'm like, is that your brand?
It
is
It
now.
kind of is. It kind of is.
It's very authentic.
It's
when you
me,
say
yeah,
it.
it's me,
Very
it's me.
authentic.
Yes.
What was the question
Okay,
again?
ladies.
What was the
first.
question again?
What do you think are the most important life skills, sales skills, communication skills that are just going to have someone be like, again, you think about your children where they are today, and I look at my kids where they are today. Like I was very mindful of like, you need to be able to walk up, look somebody in the eye, shake their hand. Don't squeeze it too hard, but don't be a limp noodle. Like you got to find that in between spot, but like communicate, connect, ask more questions, get close, but don't get too close. Like this is stuff I've been drilling in my kids' heads forever. I don't care.
Brilliant.
If you're going to be the guy that drives the trash truck, you're going to be the most charismatic one out of
Exactly.
everybody out there, right?
Exactly.
Like that was my intent.
Yes.
What are you guys thinking? Like from a luxury standpoint, what are those charming skills that they all need?
I mean, you hit on some of them. I think to me, it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have, how connected you are, who you know, and we all know people in our high-end market spaces that are so awkward.
I was just going to say
do not know how to
awkward.
just be a
Yeah.
normal
I
person.
have like faces running through my head.
Totally.
Yes,
Me
I
too.
know.
So to me, that's first and foremost. You need
Yeah.
to know how to be a normal human being.
Yeah.
And I think some of that, like don't be a weirdo. That's like,
Or
hi.
read the book, The Alter. If you're listening to, you're like, I think they might be talking about me. Yes, we are. Read the book, The Alter Ego. Yeah, so keep going.
Yeah, so like for our kids, that's very much something like we want, and they're very young, granted, but exactly what you're talking about is what things we will teach them as they're getting older. But we keep them around adult conversation and communication. So
Yeah.
I think if you're not someone that was raised that way or naturally has that charisma, first and foremost, you need to find people to mirror. And that doesn't even necessarily have to be someone in person as a mentor. Follow you, follow other top agents,
Yeah.
follow other people to see like how they communicate and just copy it. Like
Emulate them.
exactly.
Right. That's what I did.
Right.
R&D'd everybody.
Yeah.
Like that was it. Right. What other skills?
So I'm
We're
going to go
we're making John go last.
to the go ahead. Yeah, he's hating it. Look, he's sweating. So pushy.
Right.
I'm just yesterday, or not yes, 2 days ago,
Yep.
we were went to visit friends, and there was a group of people there, and Lily, our 10.5-year-old, was with us.
So crazy that she's 10
I know,
I know.
unbelievable, and she's beyond. Yeah,
Right.
she's a very mature 10.5.
Yes.
But she was in a mood, and not, she said hello, but she,
Yeah.
you know what kids do nowadays? She keeps her mask on because that's her way to like kind of hide behind.
Right.
She hides behind the
Right.
mask. I'm
Right.
like, will you take that down? So that night I was putting her to bed and I said, listen, feel your feelings. You're allowed to be sad, mad, whatever. I'm not
Yeah,
going
we're
to tell
human.
you have to be
Yeah.
inauthentic or happy all the time. But when we're with people and someone says hello, and they're people we know and love or not, you smile and you say hello.
Yeah.
And she said, I know, I was a little dull. She said that. And I was like, yeah, I was like, wow. But she heard it. And that's really important. I'm not saying don't listen. I'm the moodiest guy in the world. My team knows that. But
You're so bitchy.
what's it? No, that they'd call me bitchy. Moody. But anyway. But that's important. And you have to,
Brian, we need to get him a mood ring and send
What's
it to
that?
him for the holidays.
you have to, when you're with people, again, any level,
Yes.
be authentic, be yourself, but you have to bring it and you have to be on their level.
Yes.
I have clients that are, my God, so charismatic and I can't keep up with them
Right.
and they're bigger than life. And some,
Yeah.
the most successful are the quietest ones and the ones they walk in a room, no one knows who
Completely
they are,
unassuming, exactly.
unassuming.
Yeah.
They don't have to talk because they're secure. They know who they are.
Yeah.
I love that.
And look, I think there's a lot of things in life that can be learned and taught. I think there are certain things that are just sort of naturally inherent, and you have to recognize what that is and isn't about
Yeah.
yourself and
Yeah.
play to your strengths
Yeah.
and try to guard against your weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
That's just kind of, and knowing how to read the room because each client's going to be a little bit different.
Yes.
Some of them cast a really big shadow, right? So you just got to let them own the spotlight.
Yeah.
But by and large, what I've found is it's something I refer to as casual confidence, right? I'm very confident, but I'm not cocky. I'm not arrogant about it. I'm just casual about it. And it's backed up by the fact that I know what I'm doing. I can speak
Yes.
effortlessly about sort of the market knowledge and so forth. And I've found with, the higher end clients, the more you can, and again, I think you said this, meet them on their level, make it feel like you're speaking to them as an equal, right? Even though your bank accounts may not be equal, you're speaking to them as an equal because they are looking to you in that moment, in that capacity as an advisor, as an expert in
Right.
your arena. You're here to advise them on this. And they're
Yes.
often going to think that they know best. And sometimes, look, there are situations where you have to be more the enabler, but more often than I'm not afraid to just say, I'm not a yes man. That's, you may not always agree with what I'm going to say, but my job is to provide you with my opinion because that's what you're paying me for.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to counterpoint something you said earlier. Your boyfriend, my pal Tom Billieu, right?
Love me some Tom Billieu.
I know you do.
if he's watching,
That wasn't creepy at all.
Really.
Okay,
You
this
really should
this
go to
podcast is
Miami.
going downhill, right? But I want to like one of the things that I remember the first time I met him, we were talking about the fact that and Jim Quick, same thing on my original podcast with Jim Quick. These are all skills anyone can learn.
Yes.
You can learn to be charismatic. You can learn to put on a smiling face. You can learn to not try and take it over, but instead let them be, have them be even boosted up in their greatness and cast an even bigger shadow and have them love you for it. These are all skills that just most people aren't thinking about. So it's like, I think we're creating some awareness here, which is good. So,
and by the way, we're all human, and doesn't mean, certainly I don't, maybe you guys do, wake up every day when I'm meeting someone new or a different level, or just, I have to remind myself, oh wait, they called me, they want my advice.
I have the privilege.
I have the privilege and permission to be honest, authentic.
Right.
They called me.
Right.
Don't be intimidated.
You know what else that we didn't touch on, which really ties back to Tom Bilyeu, is be passionate and be energetic, because people respond to that.
Yes.
People
And
are
that
drawn
was
to.
That's
so
a skill.
The first time I was ever exposed to Tom Bilyeu was at an elite retreat.
Total man crush.
I do. I was at an elite retreat. I had no idea who he was, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay,
Yeah,
listen to what you have
Tom
to say."
has some guy on stage, whatever.
And he was on stage, and he said, "You have to be willing to work harder, smarter, and longer hours than anyone else." And someone in the audience raised their hand and said, "Question: if I'm working smarter and harder, why do I have to work longer hours?" And he goes, "Because I'm doing all three. And if you're not, I'm going to eat your fucking lunch." And I went, whoa, like the passion that he spoke with was so, I was, I don't know, I was sold.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
But again, speak with passion, speak with energy and enthusiasm. People really, really resonate with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. So last question, totally random. What do you think is the biggest and most important initiative you'll have for 2022, 2023? Biggest, most important initiative? You're going last.
I evidently, clearly.
You better bring the passion. You're pausing. Lauren, what do you got? You can have two. You're such an overachiever.
Marketing, all things marketing.
That's too broad. I have no idea what that means.
There's so many initiatives we're working on right now, which is building out an entire team. We've recently brought on a videographer, a social media person, video that we're working on implementing, series that we just spoke about last night.
Right. Let's not disclose that just yet.
We're not.
But 4 new original shows coming out from your team. 5. Such an overachiever.
And to me, the biggest thing with marketing means executing on the plan that we've laid out, of course, but then the bigger piece is consistency. So in order to execute on the plan and the consistency, it's building out the right team of people to be able to do that.
Bingo.
And then my second is really driving client experience and conversion with the team.
And how will you know if it works?
Well, we'll see it in our numbers.
Have you thought about Net Promoter Score? NPS, scale from 1 to 10, how referable are we? Like that is the measurement of client experience. It's called NPS, Net Promoter Score. It's as simple as an email. Hey, thank you so much for being involved with us. On a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate our experience?
Oh, we're doing that.
Yeah.
It literally launches January 1st.
That's called
Okay, we're on
NPS.
the
Okay,
same
so
page.
high five, bam, got it.
Didn't know it was called that.
NPS, yeah. Net Promoter Score. And what you look for is promoters are 8, 9, and 10. Right? Detractors are like, from memory, I think it's like 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, where they're going to tell people horrible experience. And then like the people in the middle are just kind of like, nah. Right. But if you get 8, 9, and 10, like Apple gets like, like 9s and 10s over and over again. And people are like, oh, you have a Samsung. What are you thinking? Get an iPhone, right? That's what you want. No, you have to use the Graumans, right? Like that's what you want.
That's the goal.
Video. We need to do more video.
Kill the radio star?
Kill the radio star, yes. As we're growing, we're fine-tuning our team and who's in what position.
I want to break down this video thing just for a second, because this is something we're all talking about. So we did this video mastermind, and we think there was like 4 or 5 distinct camps, and each one of them was wildly successful in one of the camps. And just like every athlete who wants to be a musician and every musician who wants to be an athlete, right? Like everybody wanted to do something else, but there was basically the TikTokers, and they were killing on TikTok. There was the Reels and all thing Instagram, but really Reels, short form content.
Yep.
There was the over the top listing videos, and people literally made entire careers just around over the top listing videos. Like, hey, come list my house. What are you going to do? Right? There was educational content, straight to camera. Let me tell you what you need to do and how you need to do it, yada, yada, yada. And then there was like the news. right? Like people bringing the news, like how's the market? Jeremy Knight is the person we kept talking about, right? So when you say video, like which one? Because now it's getting into these different categories.
So the categories that I think we do are the second, third, and fifth, which are the reels and everything Instagram.
Yep.
It's doing more of those, short form. All of our stuff, it's entertaining and hopefully aesthetically pleasing, but also we're bringing value, and that is that I'm talking about the market, that it's news, and so it's just more of that and doing more in video.
Right. How is CoStar going to impact real estate, information for consumers to blah, 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 blah with their new, right? Like, and people are like, what? Like, what else does he know that I don't know? Right. As an example.
I mean, we do our weekly luxury market updates.
Right.
After a while though, it's drones because it's just a bunch of numbers and sounds the same. But then we attach, always attach, like 3 weeks ago, the two top luxury, what was it? 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had the highest. It was 67 contracts of 4 million and above. And I think the number was $620 million in volume. And the top two were 2 townhouses, one on East 67th right off 5th and the other around the corner on East 68th. People want to see photos of it, that's just,
I was just going to tell you,
as you said, that's the headlines. That's what everyone, the sexy stuff that people
if you're
want.
looking for next level with that, it's all about animations, right? So the rule now, think about it on videos. First of all, you have 3 seconds to capture anybody's attention. Like when we started this podcast, I was like, hey, do you have $1 million, big checks, right? Like, because if we don't capture the person, they'll be like, I'm out, right? Yeah. But the second thing is you got to keep them on there, right? And the problem is, we're in our car driving and watching YouTube. Like, let's just keep it real. We're on the subway. We're going someplace, right? Like we're out and about. We're in the shower, turning on a YouTube video because we're all addicted to this phone. So here's the thing: if I can't keep them watching, and the way you do it is graphics and animation. Right. So you keep bringing back in these, this $64 million photo goes up. Right. And if it was I don't know if I would do this in the high end market, but literally $64 million stacked up and then the photo of the house, people are gonna be it's going to keep their visual attention.
Serene does a lot of that with our stuff.
That's key. All right, John.
Just taking notes. I love it. Always taking notes.
So what are you going to do? What are going to be the couple of big initiatives for 2022 to really dominate the luxury marketplace?
I mean, you guys already touched on a lot. Video is going to be a huge component for us. We finally hired a full-time videographer, so super excited about creating that content, and that content really kind of capturing the sort of uniqueness and authentic nature of myself and Adam and Lauren and our team. I think that's going to be a big driver. There's a lot of things in the marketing realm that, again, I won't get into the details of, but that we haven't been doing. And a lot of it just gets back down to the basics. Right. And we're really going to be, I think, diligent and judicious about making sure that we stay on top of that. Our goal for next year is $1 billion in volume. So a lot of that is...
It's about time.
I know.
Right? And, a lot of that requires, growth, stabilization. And that... that balance, that teeter-totter of expansion and stabilization is definitely something that is, an ongoing effort that we're sort of working towards and working through. And a lot of that's going to be continuing to help enable our agents and, help their productivity. So, I don't know if I answered the question, but.
No, we're coming off a day and a half of planning and thinking and dreaming and imagining and masterminding. So, I know there's a lot to unpack there, but this has been super valuable. We started this. I literally said this is going to be one of the best podcasts ever. And you guys absolutely delivered. So thank you.
Thanks.
I got some takeaways too.
Yeah, and
I took notes.
I'm usually the one that takes more notes in every podcast. I'm interviewing people tell me more about that. How do you what was that script again? That was really good. So as we wrap this up, obviously you should follow everybody here on social, Instagram, YouTube, every place else, because there'll be a lot more video. And then if they've got questions, can they DM you? Can they hit you up? Email, sell, whatever, yada yada, all the above. Of course. Right. So you're all very findable, which is a good thing. So closing thoughts, just simple thoughts. What's your wish for everybody out there listening and watching all the way around?
I'll go last.
Oh,
we all wish that John would go last. Yes.
But that's a strategy too, because he hears our good stuff and he thinks on it.
You took all my ideas and here's one more.
Yes. And I love these guys. He's so eloquent and just his brain to the mouth. I'm like, God, that's what I meant, but it just sounded better when you said it. Anyway, okay, enough flattery.
Yes. What do you wish for the listeners out there listening and watching?
Well, everyone, you know what?
Yes.
We should be blessed and have a year full of health, happiness, and peace. Our world's, I think, a little upside down and crazy right now.
Yeah.
And we should all listen to each other more, take a pause, and come from a place of love. Don't know if that was too.
That was great.
Anyway, that's truly.
I just
what I'm
feel
feeling.
bad for both these two having to follow that.
Oh,
Because I
that's
mean, I think every
authentically
one of
what I'm
us would,
feeling.
and I saw it in your eyes. I mean, it's like, I know you felt that.
Yeah. And sell a lot of real estate. But of
There
course,
we go. No, I like the first part.
No,
And the second
that's
part,
what
because
I-
we're going to do
yeah.
it. Lauren, what do you want to say to everybody listening?
I would say to everyone listening to have a plan, and the key is consistency with that plan.
Right.
I would say that in the midst of all of these great ideas and initiatives, and again, we just got through a day and a half of this, and everyone said a different version of the same thing, which is so many avenues to pursue, right? We all come into these events with you feeling pretty good about ourselves, and we all leave feeling like shit. Because we're always like, God, there's so much I'm not doing.
We're
There's
not
so much
doing
more I need
anything.
to
There's
be
my
doing.
new advertisement for Tom Ferry Coaching. Thanks, John.
come in feeling great, leave
Like
feeling
we're saying,
shitty.
God, there's so much I'm not doing.
Let's go.
So I would say that in the midst of all this, and it's going to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth a little bit, and I am, find time for yourself. Carve out time for yourself, because I can tell you that my goal for next year, and I don't even know exactly what this means yet, is I want to do more by doing less. And I don't even know what that means yet. I haven't given it a definition, but I want to take more time for myself. I want to see my kids more.
Yeah.
We're like two ships passing in the night more often than not. Like, I want to actually have a little bit more balance. So with all these things you want to do, also it's super important to carve out time every day to feed your mind, to give yourself that time. And that's my wish for everybody.
I love it. There's nothing I can say beyond all that stuff. You guys rock. Hey, thank you so much for listening or watching or however you're consuming this. Make sure you're following everybody here on Instagram and all the other channels. And hey, I like the last part, peace and love and listening was really what I got there. So we're out. Thanks so much.